Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. I am your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge. Listeners, I have to take this time to thank you all for being committed. I am getting applications from guests, people that I don't even know, and that makes me very excited because it means that the show is doing what it was supposed to do. We want to hear your stories. We want your personal parenting journeys, and it's whether you're a mom, whether you're a dad, whether you are a foster parent, we want to hear from you because we all can take some advice and learn from each other. So thank you for sending in applications. Continue to do so. Make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you comment below. But that is not why we're here. Of course, it's not why we're here. We're here because I have another amazing guest with me today. And I have to say that this guest is special to me because she has become my friend. So listeners, if you can remember, I told you last year about a little girl at my daughter's school who told the security guard that Tavia was her sister. And they all believed her immediately. And I had to stop them in their tracks and say, no, wait, what? No, Tavia doesn't have a sister. She's an only child. And from there, Tavia was like, that's my sister. That's my sister. So they truly became like thick as thieves. And They were tight. I heard about her sister in the cafeteria after school. She was running for hugs. And I was like, who is this little girl? So finally, one day, I met this little girl's mom. And from there, I was like, okay, cool. I like her. And we became thick as thieves, just like the kids. So mamas, papas, grandmas, and the village. I to welcome my friend today, Miss Kiara Rockymore. Hey, boo.
Hey, love. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. I'm very happy.
It's a long time coming, Kim. It's a long time coming.
I know. It really has been. Like, when did we first talk about this?
Right.
Maybe around this time.
Last year, right? I don't know if it was this. It was warm outside. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so we kind of like got to know each other by doing a couple play dates. And then that's when we realized like, oh no, like that's going to be my ride or die. Like that's my friend right there.
Right.
And ever since, I mean, we've been rocking and I love it. I love that for you. I love that for me. I love that for our girls because let's be honest, they ain't hanging out if I don't like you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It takes a lot for me to be able to consistently have play dates. And you know, Tavia, she is the mayor. So everybody wants to play date. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Right. You got the side eye. You got the side eye.
It's a ridiculous. So actually, my introduction of you was kind of my Tavi tale, but I do want to just say that I am super, super, super excited about your story. Our girls are, I don't know, they're good for each other, I think.
Yeah. I think
little sister.
Exactly. And I think I like the vibe of it because Leia's a little older, gives Tavia someone to feel like, okay, yeah, she knows she's a little older. There may be some things she knows and then some things Leia misses. So they definitely like a seesaw. They balance each other out.
Yeah, they do. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into your personal parenting journey. What I really want listeners to know is that your focus for your parenting now is that you really want to encourage your daughter's happiness. So I would love for you to share what that looks like for you and to share what your personal parenting journey is, because you are a powerhouse parent.
Correct.
Like, you are somebody that I look up to as a parent. And I know you're younger than me. And I found that out later down the line. And I was like, wait, girl, I'm older than you. You're wise beyond your years, honey. And you just have so much to share.
Because I'm old on it. I really like 70 on the inside.
On the inside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it'll be like that, but you look good, honey.
Thank you.
You look good. So, you're very welcome. So, I'm going to turn my mic off. I'm going to let you have the stage, and I would love for you to share how you're encouraging happiness in your child.
So more recently, because this is what we do as moms, or I think one of the most important things to do as a mom is to make sure we're focusing things on our child's happiness. So it doesn't matter how busy we are, our kids don't care about that. It doesn't matter how much money we're trying to make, our kids really don't care about that. What they care about is that we see them and that we put smiles on our face, right? They remember the bad times, but more so it's the good times that you're trying to make a sense of repetition. So more recently, Leia has always expressed these various different interests, and I always tell this real quick joke of, I played softball and basketball, so I felt like it was like almost supposed to happen that my daughter play softball and basketball, or at least one of them, you know? And I expressed that to her. I said, okay, well, yeah, let me get you in softball, basketball. And, you know, these are the things I know. I did a little bit of cheerleading, but, you know, So I expressed that to her, and she said, and I quote, "Mom, I'm not you." And my feelings were hurt. But all in that moment of my feelings being hurt, I felt me, because my daughter was being me. She was being real. She was being straight up. And I took that on the chin and I said, okay, so what do you want to do? So that's when we first embarked on jujitsu, and then it became swimming. And even now, more as of super recently, she's expressed the interest of gymnastics. And for me, I would never turn my daughter away from anything she wants to do. I need her to at least try it to determine, yes, I really like it, or no, it's really not for me, Mom. Regardless to what the picture should be for whatever it is. I.e., she's in gymnastics now. We had her watching the class just to make sure she still was interested, you know, like understanding the expectations of her. I'm not a type of mom like, well, I'll just pay for anything because you like it. No, I need you to understand that this is a sense of a job, a sense of responsibility, and I'm going to hold you to that standard. So quickly, I won't drag out that story, but we're in gymnastics, and I said to her, we're going to watch first. You're not going to just join. You need to understand what to do, why you have to do it, and the importance of listening, which I'm sure all moms have that same problem. Their kids just have this issue of listening in moments. So as we're sitting there, we're watching the class, there was a certain stretch that the kids were doing. And she said, well, I'm just too big for that. And I said, absolutely not. I couldn't express to her what my mind was thinking. My mind was thinking, I went to Morgan State University. You should see these girls, these gymnasts, these cheerleaders doing their thing. And the base is a thick chick. You know what I mean? She got to be thick and strong. So I say all that to say it doesn't matter your size, small, big, skinny, fat, whatever the case is, give it a try. And the try will determine if you legitimately want to do it or you legitimately can't do it or won't do it. So essentially, I don't want to use the word force, but I encouraged her to stay there and watch the beginner's class. And nicely enough, there was all sizes and a couple of peppers in the class. So it made me say, okay, one, I felt extremely good at encourage her to stay. And then two, it's like, yes, now she could see the dynamic is not just the old school understanding of gymnasts. And I think we all understand what that is, right? So she was loving it. You know, they're doing their stretches, they're doing all their different things. And I'm talking to her as it's happening. And again, I'm an active mom, right? I'm not a sit back, and I have nothing against moms who are, but I feel like the way that you continuously encourage that happiness is by understanding at what space they are in every step. So you can't do that sitting in the back scenes on the phone. And again, no disrespect to any moms who do that, but it's just not my parenting style. I'm very much, and Tammy knows, I'm very much on my daughter's back. I'm very much encouraging, and at times maybe too real for certain parents, but I'm not going to make it look good just so she can feel good, because that's just not the way life is set up, right? So the earlier we introduce them to that, and we are the ones, the moms, the mothers, the ones who are with who they first trust and love. If we're the ones breaking the ice on the realization of life, then it can't slap them in the face later. So she's sitting there, she's watching it, and I'm paying attention to her. You know, is she nodding off? Is she licking her fingers? You know, kid things that 7-year-olds do. So she's focused. You know, she's like, oh, mom, this is what's happening. That's what's happening. And look, she's doing that. So it's letting me know that she's focused, which in turn, their happiness makes us happy. So it's a big old circle of happiness. You know what I mean? Even though we may be tired, we may want to give up. In many cases, we're like throwing the towel, or maybe we got to become ta-ta-ta-licious and make some extra money. But either way, we're trying to encourage our children's happiness. And that is what keeps my heart pounding. So again, just that one example. With gymnastics, after that class, which was an hour, she's paying attention. They so happened to go like behind a wall or something. She's like, well, how do we see him, mom? Which lets me know she heard me. She's, she's telling me, I hear what you're saying, mom. I know what I have to do. I understand my expectations. So moving forward, we followed the girls to the other side of the gym. The end of the class, I asked her the good old golden question. How do you feel? What do you want to do? Well, I want to do it, mom. I want to do it every day, all day. Can we, so swimming is every Friday. So in her mind, things are once a week. I knew that gymnastics could be 5 days a week, if you can afford that. So I asked the lady, okay, can we go ahead and sign her up? Come find out, couldn't sign up till June because of how they break up the different sessions, which makes sense because they want everybody on the same page if they're in that class. So I come find out that they have a camp, which encourages me, encouraged her, of course, and she wants the most expensive one. So different things, just the different options. I'm weighing that out because I have until a little bit from now, about a month. So I'm going to put her back into swimming so that she stays active. And then part of my parenting style, and I say this respectfully, it's now my job to be the coach to make sure she's ready for gymnastics. So the little bit that I know that I've seen or that I can Google, we doing it right here in the house. So outside of working out and juicing and things like that, yep, we're stretching, we're pushing our muscles because I was an athlete. So I know what that means. So essentially at the end of the day, it truly gives us as genuine moms, active moms, a really great feeling to see that smile and to know it's genuine, not, because we gave them a piece of candy or we gave them a toy. No, because they're really embarking on something that's their interest. And we're paying that enough attention to say, okay, all they know is that we let them go. They don't know we paying for it. We working extra hours and all that to make it happen. But the love says, my mom really wants me to go. So I'm going to do my best to be the best. And that's what I need. And I humbly say this, I didn't have that. My mom was here every day, but my mom just threw me in sports. You get what I'm saying? The determination came from me. I had to build that. The seed, she planted it, right? But I nurtured it. I put the water on it. I put the sun. So that was something I missed as a kid. And I always promised God that if you bless me with children, this is what I will do. So I make sure no matter how tired I am, no matter anything, I am on top of it, in and out of whatever the situation, school, activities. It doesn't stop because the class is over. It ended there, but you have another session at home. And again, I know some moms may see that as, maybe too hard but I come from roots of toughness, so we aren't spaghetti backs, as my mom would say. So I can't be something I'm not, you know what I mean? But I also understand the difference of abuse and love, you know what I mean? And in the middle, in the fine middle, you find what I'm doing. So that's my take on making sure that my daughter's happy and nurturing that happiness.
So ironically, today I went to a leadership summit and the keynote speaker talked about joy, love, creativity, and kindness in the classroom. And she gave the definition of what love is not.
Amen.
And, but it was in the context of education in the classroom.
Yep.
And, a lot of educators talk about, I care about them, yet they're failing your class and you're just okay with letting them go. And, I love these kids, but you're not holding them to a standard.
Yep.
And then she defined all of the things and the reasons why we can authentically say that this is love. So care, different types of communication, having responsibility for them. And the thing that really resonated with me was the high expectations piece. We cannot say that we love our kids and we are only getting them to that participation trophy.
Mm-hmm.
If we want them to succeed, then we need to hold them to a high expectation and we need to continue to pour into them, especially where we see them growing and showing interest and see where their talents are, so that we can nurture that, like you said, and it can bloom and they can build success for themselves.
Right.
And I don't even think that what you're describing is borderline abuse, or you said, what was the first thing you said? You said there's love and then there's abuse.
Yep. And
you didn't say love.
No, I said there is, this happiness. No, I did say love, because I said love, and then the opposite, I guess, would be abuse. And I said, no, I didn't say love, because I forget what the word I said. But you said
you sit in the middle.
Yes, I sit happily in the middle, because a little bit of both sides is always needed. But I say that from a loving heart, that I never feel like I abuse my child. But I know from the outside looking in, it could look like I could be too tough on her for her age, or I'm too hard, which I have gotten that comment, right? In swimming, I'm a very focused mom. Any good mom is watching their child and that child is now looking for mom to confirm or deny what just happened. Was that good, mom? Or was that bad? And here's the thing, if you're active enough, they could look at you and already know, like, and then that next stroke or whatever it is that they're doing, in her case, swimming and things like that, they look and she looks for that confirmation. And that confirmation is the happiness that I'm speaking of. That happiness is something I have to keep feeding. There is a level of expectation she has for me, and I have a level of expectation for her. And I think that that's why I say I sit happily in the middle, because sometimes I got to give a whole lot of love. And sometimes I got to, stray a little bit closer to what people feel like is not so loving. Or, well, she's just having fun. Okay, no disrespect. She is having fun. But guess where I think? Further than today. Swimming takes you further than just learning all the levels of which, this particular program has. It could take you to college. It could take you to the Olympics. And guess what? It's a life thing that you need. You need swimming, just for this example alone. This is something that I feel like in the community of which we live in, at least in my mom's era, it wasn't important to teach your kids how to swim. It was just like, well, if you did, you did. Or they had the stereotype, well, that's a white people thing. No, this is a life thing. You need to have this to survive life. You get what I'm saying? So anybody who's looking at me from the outside, and it doesn't matter the skin tone, you can say that, oh, well, she's just having fun. Let her have fun. You can say that about your child, right? Because I ain't going to never comment on your child. Your child could just be having fun. My child needs to understand she needs to have fun, and she needs to learn from this. And if she's really serious about it, it needs to take her to the next level. We're not here wasting time and money. What is this going to do for your life? And that's just essentially what it is. My mom never came, I don't know if she came out her mouth vocally to say, okay, well, I got you in basketball and softball to see if it takes you to college. Well, little did she know the lack thereof care, I should say, that she put into my sports. And that's why I say she sat happily in the middle. She may not have been the mom that push to say, well, this is going to take you somewhere. But she was on the other side saying, I'm going to make sure that you're in it. And I'm going to make sure you show up on time. And guess what? Softball took me all the way to college. So it's just something that I feel like if we're going to do something for our kids in a sense of sports or activities, make sure that they are gaining something from it, whether it's they're better at their math skills, they can read better, or such chess club. They're gaining a different group or dynamic of friends that leads them in a different direction. So I just think further than the moment. And I also think further than the dollar it costs to have them in those moments. So for me, whatever she wants to talk about, that she wants to do, I'm going to sit down with her. I have a couple minute conversation with her and say, okay, well, this is the expectation. I need you gymnastics. Like I said, I forced her to watch YouTube. I said, well, why you want to do gymnastics? Like, why would that be it? And I didn't have this, oh, well, let's do it. No, I said, why do you want to do it? Do you want to do it because you see all these kids on YouTube doing it? Because they make it look easy, but they're not showing you the work it took behind the scene and all the cuts and the prints and the delete parts that they don't have in these videos. So those are the things that I felt like she needs to understand. For me, it's not just for play. There's a bigger purpose in it. So sorry, I got long-winded, but yeah.
That's all good. You kind of, because you were long-winded and you were thorough in your response, you answered a question or an addition that I wanted to add.
Okay.
Even if it's not like college, you're still learning some other things out of it. And
right.
and that's the purpose of team sports,
right?
Or sports in general.
Or life.
You're learning life skills.
Yep.
Yes, that you can apply to other things. You're learning failure, which is crucial.
Yep.
Especially for Black and brown babies.
Same.
You're learning failure because sometimes there's going to be failure that you didn't contribute to.
Nope.
But it's failure just because of what you look like.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get into that because that is my life every day, all day. So, I love what you said. You had a quote and it was like, I have to write this down. And it's still on the topic of tough love. If we're the ones breaking the realization of life, then it can't slap her in the face later.
Right.
Man, I was like, I have to write that whole quote down because that was, what's that emoji? Mind blown?
Yeah.
My God, in heaven.
Yeah.
So we know that kids are mean.
Yeah.
And she said to you, I can't do something because of my size.
Correct.
And you made it very clear, I don't care what your size is. If you want to do it and you do what you have to do to make sure that it happens, you can do it. How do you encourage her to keep pushing through something despite what bullies might say? Because you might not always hear what other people are saying to her, but it's tearing her down. How do you tackle that conversation with her? And how do you give her the tools that she needs to handle it on her own?
I promise I won't be long-winded. But so initially I tried to with kids, typically they tell, if you have that relationship with your child, typically they will come home and tell you something a kid said about them, right? So instead of, and again, I come from the world of tough love, God rest my grandfather's soul, there wasn't no hugs and kisses. No, you just got thrown out in the fight and you better get ready, So in Leia's case, when she brings things like that home, I ask her how she felt. I ask her to explain to me what she took from that. And then I pay attention, right? I pay attention. Is she crying? Is she looking for me to console her? Is she lost in translation of what was said to her, right? So I try to make sure that, one, I understand her side of her perception of what was said to her, because naturally we jump and we're trying to be mama bears and we're trying to say, oh, no, So I get her perception of what was said to her. I then ask her to articulate what exactly are the feelings that she feels inside. So based off that answer, it kind of leads me down where I need to go. So if it's something such as weight, which she has had to deal with, I said to her, well, what do you say? What do you say to these kids? And she said, well, so and so and so well, they're skinny as a pencil. And I said, well, was that your response? She'll say, well, yeah. But then they'll say something else. And I was like, okay, well, what did you say after they said something else? So that kind of goes on for a little bit, just to see and kind of test my child, essentially, to see if she was able to take up for herself, right? Because I need you to understand the blood that's running through your veins. So we don't just sit there and go cry in the corner, because that's a problem too. Real short, whenever I did get bullied in school, and I actually got bullied on my same block where I lived, my mom was not with me coming home and crying. That was not an option. If I got into a fight and I felt like I lost that fight, I better go figure out how to win that fight, or I'm going to have another fight at home. So I must rather only have one fight. So I'm going to go win the fight at school. You know what I mean? So in Leia's case, I encourage her to understand, one, we have to pump the positivity from the gate before they even go to school. They have to know they're beautiful. They have to know that they're brown. They have to accept that they're brown. So all the doors that are going to be open for negativism, I've already put various different mirrors that show her that ain't true. That's just somebody's perception of you. So then I asked her to elaborate on whoever the kid was and whatever the topic was. So if it wasn't her weight and it was her shoes, I said, well, you got to understand the difference now between somebody disliking you and somebody wishing that they had what you had. And that's called envy. And I said, whenever people envy you, it screams louder than somebody disliking you. And most of the time people dislike you because you're misunderstood. They do not understand you. They don't understand how you walk so confident and how your hair is done all the time and things like that. I said, so sometimes your hair being done all the time is a problem. That, the people wish she had Caucasian friends. The one little girl, she never hated on her. This was at Leia's first school where the girls met at. The one Caucasian girl, she's like, well, I just want my hair like yours, Leia. So that's one way to respond. And then you might have somebody else respond with, oh, you're ugly, or this, that, and third. And I told her, I said, these two people are saying the same thing, but you see it differently because of how you feel. But I need you to feel positive about both situations. Know that you are a beautiful person. Know that you're a growing child. So guess what? You're going to go big. You're going to go small. You're going to get pimples. You're going to lose the pimples. I said, your life is going to change. You're going to alter. I said, I didn't make it to my age without going through the fluctuation of life. I said, and I get that you're too little to understand. That was why it's my job to keep reiterating it every single time that she tackles these different hurdles. So I typically, just like I said, I was allow Leia to give me her perception, and then it allows me to know what road to go down. And then I just go from there. But no matter what, I choose the positive road. And I U-turn it back to remember so-and-so told you you're beautiful. So-and-so said this. And I also take it outside of family. Tammy, you have told Leia in various different cases, oh, well, this and that and that and this is how I feel. And so sometimes saying mommy and daddy or grandma said it is like, whatever. At some age, you guys were supposed to say it. I'm used to it. But when people such as yourself or people who are outside of the family are saying it, then you could kind of reference back and say, oh, okay. So it lightens that blow a little bit more. But it's repetition. Essentially, it's repetition.
You're such a great storyteller. I just have to, that's where that wisdom comes from. And it's really great to just sit back and listen to you and your experience. One of the things I want to start pushing, I'm going to start talking normal again. One of the things that I would really love to start pushing is that this podcast is for real parents. We are not experts, but we are experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not, being a parent is not what you went to school for.
Nope.
But because we are walking this every day and we're learning our children, we are becoming experts to raising them. Experts come on many different levels, and I will say that for myself. Because I do not have a PhD in parenting, but I am in school, okay? I do not. Thank you, Nailed It Mother Podcast, because you guys have helped me a lot. But anywho, because we're experiencing parenting, we can give our tips and tricks. So I just love listening to you. But I have one more question, and we're going to take it back to the very beginning of when you started sharing how you wanted to encourage happiness in Lay. And it was a quote that she said to you. And I don't want to focus on her. I want to focus on what you got from it. When you said, I'm ready, like this time we're about to start putting her into sports. She's going to play softball. She's going to play basketball. She's going to be just like me. I'm hyped. I'm ready to teach her all my tricks. I'm about to teach her how I did it, how I got this ride to college. And then she's like, Mom, I'm not you.
Yeah.
First of all, that was profound for such a little girl to be like, yeah, that's not what I want to do. And she's telling you early. How did you take that? And I know you kind of explained it, but like, what was the process like? How long did it take to process it and like kind of get over it and be like, real talk, you are not me. So let's find out what God put in you and strengthen that. Share that process with us.
So how long did it take? It took seconds. Because me and her reached a different altitude of love. I feel as though the fact that my 7-year-old's response to that, and like you just said, I feel like a typical child would say, well, no, Mommy, I want to do this. My child came out her mouth and told me she was not me. And I was like, but I respected her. My ears were open. And all in the time that it took her to say it and reach my brain, my eyebrows raised, they came back down, and I was like, you're right. You're not me. You're not me. But you have me in you. So the determination to succeed in whatever you do is already there. What would you like to do, honey? And that's where she rolled out and told me jiu-jitsu was the first thing. Which she didn't know. I did do karate. I didn't tell her. You just wanted you to know you started like me, but I ain't going to bust your bubble. So I just kind of went off and allowed her. Again, I just listened. I took away everything that I felt like she should do first. The steps that should go. Like I have this map of how this should go. Threw it out, burnt it, and said, okay, well, you write the story. Tell me, you the illustrator. You know what I mean? So I just respectfully heard her and moved accordingly. Simple as that.
I love that. It's such a mature response. And it kind of feels like you have done this before. Like, where did you learn this? Like, what school, what classes were you sitting in? That's what it feels like. And I'm only saying that because, like, I listen to podcasts, I listen to other parents, and they're really trying to push what they did on their kids, and they're like really set in their ways. And I was listening to a podcast where the wife was talking about a fight that she and her husband are having because they want their child to go to the school of their choice. And they were both very different schools, very different focuses. And at the end of the day, they were colleges. So this kid is 8 or 9 years old. And at this point, like you have this plan that you're going to try to push him into this journey to get to these colleges. But at the end of the day, it might not even be one of his choices.
Right.
And y'all are fighting over it as adults. You need to start prepping yourselves for them to be like, that's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who I am. So I love that response. That might be a soundbite for the future. It might be a soundbite for just me because, my child is a lot like me. So it's nice to see the talents that she has that I also have. And it might break my heart when she says, I don't want to act. What? What you mean you don't want to act?
Who are you talking to?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, she's talented, but there's a little bit of stage fright in there. And I don't know. Like, she has a recital coming up. I don't know if she's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably going to get up on that stage and freeze. I'm a little nervous.
And it's okay,
but
she does.
I'm preparing myself.
Yeah. And
I mean, I'm preparing myself. Like,
it's going to be, even if she does or doesn't, it'll be character building season. Because
absolutely,
one thing we don't want as parents is our kids to fail, right? But the reality of it is you're going to fail. And I can't dictate when that failure happens, right? You're going to understand that life isn't perfect. And I can't dictate when that happens. What I can do is put the cushion up under your butt when you fall, because I'm going to be right there. And I'm going to tell you could get back up and do it again. Now, of course, we can't tell them the story of the Just Man, because they're just not going to make sense to that. But, Just Man fell 7 times. So it's okay. You got 1. You got 6 more to go. You're fine.
You're fine. Well, thank you for sharing so many gems. I know that we did not even touch half of what your parenting journey is looking like. You had one focus tonight, so I already know we're going to be back. It won't be anytime soon because it took us about 18 years to get to this one interview, but we're going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen.
Agreed.
So we're going to move on to tea time.
Here's my tea.
I actually have buttons here, and I really was going to play with them tonight, but I'll hold off on that.
You can always edit later. It's okay.
Say that again?
You can always edit it. You could have did the ting.
I can. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm doing it anyway. We're going to tea time. All right. They keep telling me I need sound effects. So there you all go. Mm-hmm. We have sound effects. Tea time is a game of rapid fire.
Okay.
I'm going to spit out some questions for Kiara. They are random. Some are deep. Some are just for fun. But I just want the honest, authentic first response if you can. Some people have to think a little harder and be like, no, I don't want that response. But that's what you said. So that's what it is.
All right.
So during this game, you will have 3 minutes to answer as many questions as you can and give us a little bit more insight into who you are. So, Kiara, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Don't look scared. You good. Everything's going to be all right. Awesome. Okay, shake it off. Here we go. Timer is starting now. In the first question, what is your hidden talent?
I'm good at motivating others. I'm extremely good at motivating others. And
that is not hidden.
Well, to be honest with you, it is for me, because never would I ever put that with myself. Like So that's the answer.
Okay. That is your answer then. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
What is the last TV show or movie you binge watched?
What is that called? Oh my God, it's with that light-skinned girl. Oh my God, I can't think of the name of it.
What's it about?
It's something about thickest in the thickest something.
Oh, Survival of the Thickest.
Survival of the Thickest, yep.
With Michelle Butler. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just finished that too. What's your dream vacation spot?
Dubai.
Yes. Expensive. Get your coins together. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
Singing.
Yeah. What emoji do you use the most?
The thinking emoji.
I was about to say, I know you so. What's the most ridiculous fear you've ever had?
Conquering my goals.
That was kind of deep. Cool. Okay, I'm wasting my time. What's your comfort go-to food?
Food. I used to say pizza. I feel like that might have changed. I don't know. Probably like Appleberry frozen with yogurt and some fruit. That's the new one. It used to be pizza.
Lifestyle food.
Yeah.
I love it. Who is your celebrity crush?
It used to be The Rock, but now it's a combination of Michael Ealy and Aaron. Yeah, he's Mufasa.
Name one book, podcast, or resource that's changed your perspective.
I have to say nailed it. That's I only get one, right?
Mine?
Yeah.
Mine nailed it.
Yeah. The ability to just kind of freely speak in your truth. Not have a whole script to it. I feel like a lot of them have like, say this and then they say this. I'm a wink and you do that. So it's just the realness of it.
I love it. Thank you. That is a real compliment. I appreciate that. And our time is up and you did fantastic.
Great. Did I get a lot of them?
You got a good amount.
Okay.
I would say almost 8 to 10 questions. Yeah. And to tag on to your crush, your old crush, you're welcome. Had to, because first of all, I love him. He's handsome. Don't laugh at me like that. Yes, I am a fool, in case you haven't figured it out. I just want him to stop singing.
Yeah, amongst other things. But
yeah. If he can get a deal, if he can get as many songs as he's getting, then I should be famous by now. Okay? But anyway, enough about him. At this time, I want to thank you once again for joining us as a powerhouse parent on Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. I truly, authentically, because I sound like I'm faking, but I'm not at all. I authentically enjoy being your parent friend, but, being your girl, like you are my home girl. And I appreciate the fact that you have so much to share and you don't even realize it. Like you tap into that hidden talent, motivate people because you are fantastic at it. And I really, really want to hear more of you. You do so much well. And helping people is definitely a strength of yours. So I really just want you to hone in on it. But more importantly, because one of your fears is conquering your goals. Right. Motivate yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a fool. So as soon as I said it, I was like, sometimes you have to endure. Anyway, when the enemy. All right. So at this time, before you go, I do want to give you an opportunity to share any motivational words, any inspiration that you have for other parents, and then let people know where they can connect with you. So I'm going to give you the floor one more time, and then we're going to roll on out. So,
so I can be found on Instagram, who I am 22. My name on Facebook is Marie Rock. I'm also a birth doula, so you can look me up, Kiara Rockymore. Recently, I have MPI, so you can bill me through your insurance. Call me anytime you need. If you really want to reach me, Tammy has my direct contact. I am very grateful to be a part of this movement you have going on, so I definitely appreciate the time that I can put to this. It does make me feel like I'm in a community of movers. we're the modern day. What did they used to do? Not boycott. Black women movers. That's what we are. And men too. I'm not excluding men, but it's just there's power in numbers, right? So thank you for allowing me to be one of the numbers that will make your show powerful, as well as I would love to come back and kind of update everyone. So, but yeah, that's all I have. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. See you on the flip side of this. And that's it. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Did you want to share anything specifically to moms before? I didn't want to overlook that part.
I think if you aren't sure, reach out to who you trust in. And if you believe that what you're doing is right, just keep on pushing. It's okay to be tired. Just don't give up. That's the whole thing. Take a moment for yourself, and I mean a hot splitting moment, especially if you have more than one child. But just don't give up. Focus on your children's happiness. Don't forget yourself in the meantime. But just remember, at the end of the road, everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to be, regardless to what you think you did right or did wrong. It's that simple.
Powerhouse, like I said. Okay, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Standard questions we ask at the end of every show. I just want to know if you agree with all the other parents on the show. Is parenting hard?
There's days that it is. And that's the truth. There's days where it was a breeze. And then there's days where it's like, them kids. But but for the most part, I have to say it's a beautiful journey, especially if you truly want to do it. In my case, I truly want to do it. I want more. So it has its days. It's not always hard.
That's awesome. But is she still standing though?
She's still standing. She nailed it.
Wow. So you jumping the gun, girl. What do you want to
I'm sorry, because it's still standing.
Get excited. Hold on. So what do you want to proudly shout to our guests today?
I would love to say humbly that this mama is nailing it. And I'm out.
Nailing it. It was so precious. I love it. Okay. Listeners, if you like this episode and you want to hear more personal parenting stories, then subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and don't forget, follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We also have a website, naileditmotherhood.com, for your one-stop shop about our podcast and hopefully an online store coming soon. Don't forget, you can also be a guest on the podcast by completing a guest application. The link is right in the bio, so please fill it out and then I will connect with you, show you what you need to do so we can get this party going. We welcome your questions, comments, and ideas, and we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is that you do. Smooches. Bye.
You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast.